Welcome back to Full Plate. I would like to introduce you to a newer guest. We have not had Erin Wiley. She's a family therapist, and I used her for a different show that I do, and she was so great. I'm like, well, how can we get Erin Wiley back in the mix? So nice to have you.
Thank you.
And so let's talk about yourself a little bit. You are a family therapist. This is what you do. What kind of counseling do you do every day?
I do all sorts of counseling. I'm a general practitioner, so I see a lot of people with depression and anxiety. I do a lot of marriage counseling. I do divorce counseling, helping people move through transitions in their life. I see kids. I see a lot of teenagers.
So really, you're in the thick of it with all of our problems.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And I love it.
And I can relate to you. You have two sons, 13 and 12, which is good. I always like hearing that too, because it's really easy to give advice, and then in life you try to do it and it's like, well, this doesn't quite work.
Yeah, right? It helps when you've got guinea pigs at home you can practice on.
Like I said, I practiced on my first son. I'm sorry, Nick. And the second one, no. Which is true. You're much more nervous, I think, with the first kid, and they pay the price.
Yeah, for sure. My kids the other day, I was talking about not drinking pop, and they said, did you read another research study? Yes, I did, as a matter of fact.
So it's the truth. We're talking about helicopter parenting. This is in the news because we're seeing it one versus the other. Helicopter parenting, which is kind of defined as hovering, essentially. You're there for everything.
Right.
Not only are you watching over, but you're stepping in with the teacher, with the college boards, whatever it is you can think of, mom, coaches,
right.
all of it.
Right.
Versus free range parenting, which would be something that nowadays you can get arrested for, but we used to just call this parenting in the 70s when your mom and dad would say, go out and play.
Right.
Don't come on, you come home.
Yes.
Right. So there's a huge kind of gap in the way that we were raised versus the way we're raising our kids. And I'm going to criticize helicopter parenting like I didn't do it. But what do you know? No, I did do it too. I mean, I did I don't know that I never stepped in with coaches. Oh, the coaches at home are like, yeah, she did. I mean, I was there for everything, but I guess we tried to let the coaches coach and the teachers teach. That said, I mean, I did volunteer and I did all that kind of stuff. I was there a lot.
I think that's a great thing.
Is it bad?
No.
Okay.
No, I think the part that you're talking about stepping in, to me, that's where we need to probably draw a line. To be on the periphery for our kids and supervise or watch, whether it's from the kitchen window or the backyard or across the lot, like we were talking about, I think those are safe things. But it's when you're going, okay, you're not playing nicely. Now you need to share with him. Stop it. Did you call him a name? That's enough.
Right.
They have to figure that out. Yeah, they've got to learn. To me, the thing that kids don't have nowadays is distress tolerance. They aren't stressed out, and they don't know how to handle it when they are. And I am also guilty because none of us want our kids to be upset or hurt.
This is important. Listen to this. This is the truth. Your kids will have stress because life is about stress. You cannot protect your child as they become adults, as they become people. Right. Life is stressful, but when you take and I understand the impulse.
I know.
With my older son especially, I would be like, I don't want him to get upset. So let's do these 5,000 different things to make sure that he doesn't get upset.
Right.
And my younger son, who was more laid back, he'd be like, you are insane. But it's the truth. He didn't, you have to let them handle problems because so you go to work the first time and you're backed up on the McDonald's French fry order and you lose the job.
Oh yeah, right.
Because you're freaking out.
Yeah. Let's see. When I talk about clients, I have to really be careful. I did have a teenager who, very much like a lot of teenagers I see, quit a job the other day by walking out and leaving.
Just because I can't do this is too much.
And they didn't tell anyone they were leaving, and the bosses called and they didn't want to pick up the phone call because they were afraid of the conflict.
So they never had a conflict or never had a confrontation because probably mom is doing all that, and I did my fair share of stepping in. So how do we go from that instinct we all have, or we seem to have nowadays, to letting them handle some of those problems? How do we get stress in their life? How do we let them handle stress?
Sure. Well, I think it really depends on the situation, which makes it infinitely difficult because in any given moment, as a mom or a dad, you're trying to discern what the right thing is to do, and you and I both know you're going to mess it up. That's just inevitable. But being able to probably give kids little opportunities for independence so that they can experience what it feels like to do something on their own. And letting them make mistakes and not getting angry with them. It really, I tell parents a lot of the time, one of the best things we can do not when we're loving on our kids, but in general with discipline, is remain emotionless. So we can say, okay, so it looks like you made a bad choice. And I told you to do this and you did it, but then you did this and that's a problem. So you're gonna be punished now, as opposed to going, why would you do this?
Right.
So letting them experience
a matter
life.
of fact condition or I guess consequence, as opposed to you didn't hurt my feelings here. You made a mistake that you're gonna have to deal with.
Right. You knocked the sucker out of your brother's hand, so now I'm taking yours and I'm giving him one back again, and you don't get one.
I would say I was 50-50 good at that kind of stuff. I remember when there would be tantrums in the house, just putting him in there, I'm like, you know what, we're civilized human beings and you're acting like a raging animal. And so you're going to go in here with the door closed. I mean, until we hear no more screaming.
Right. Yeah, get yourself under
control. Get yourself together.
Absolutely. I tell that to parents all the time. They can have any emotion they want. They just can't always display it in full volume in the middle of the room.
Well, because you do see like a ramping up of everyone's emotions then. The kid's freaked out and you're freaked out back. And like I said, this is me being judgmental because I'm beyond that part of it. But I did the same things. I mean, I did exactly the same things. So the other question is aloneness, like a kid being able to go just explore. We are really afraid of kidnapping. We're afraid of danger. And in reality, statistics are not so clear like we think, oh, this is definitely a danger. There is some room for kids to be able to explore. What do they get from being able to independent play?
Oh, so I mean, they get the self-satisfaction of accomplishing things. They learn the lay of the land of their town. If you let them go walk to the corner store or bike to the pool or go with a bunch of friends and go to the park. I think there's just a sense of no one's watching us, when in reality, they're in community. There's neighbors around, people see them. So I think in general, kids are safe because there's a community of people around them. And most adults won't let a child who looks like they're in danger continue to be in danger.
Right.
But so they're like, there's no adult eyes here. And so they can do what they're not supposed to do, like roll down the skateboarding hill with their bodies instead of on a skateboard. And they're like, oh, wow, this is cool.
I just did that.
But they also learn stuff like, oh, I just scraped my face and now I need to go get a Band-Aid. That was probably not a good decision. And they're learning for themselves how to manage risk. And I just heard a fella who works at MIT with fraternity students saying, when you have helicopter parenting a kid's whole life and we protect them from risk over and over, they get to college and they don't know how to protect themselves from risk. So they drink 14 beers and 15 shots in a night and they die.
Right. You are hurting them in the long run if you don't give them a chance to experience life a little bit before they go to college. Because what happens is, I'm telling you this at home, I am telling you this, they're going to go to college and it's the first time. Do you want it to be the first time they've had to make their own decisions when you are 250 miles away? You know what I mean? You don't want that. You want them to have progressed in the learning of how to handle themselves. Well, so what do you do when you see yourself trying to, what are management of this emotion? How do we manage these emotions as parents?
I think the first part is just awareness, understanding that, especially as moms, our instinct is to overprotect. So just knowing that that's probably your instinct to start with, and knowing that that can be harmful rather than beneficial to your child is a good place to start. So once you kind of have that awareness, you can be more aware and more mindful of how you're behaving around your kids. And then talking with your friends and saying, is this appropriate? And how old is your kid? And do you let them stay home alone? And if I leave my kids alone for 2 hours, can you be an emergency contact next door so that you're giving them opportunities, but you're still little by little giving them a chance to explore, be on their own, have their own risks.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So check yourself a little bit. Are you overprotecting? Are you just protecting? Are you helicoptering? It's something to ask yourself on the daily, because we do have to make these decisions on the daily with these kids. Erin Wiley, family therapist, thank you so much. Appreciate you here. We'll have you back because I've got lots of questions.
I would love that.
All right, stay with us. 5-ingredient bean dip, the easiest thing we're going to do all day. Stay with us. Yeah, it's really